Hello, I will be talking about my first semester as a mechanical engineering student. Currently, I am pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering. Um, I'll leave the University Anonymous for now, but I had a lot of very interesting experiences during my first semester. A lot of interesting courses. And a lot to reflect upon as I'm moving forward. I'm almost halfway done with my second semester. So, the first thing I would like to talk about in regards to my first semester will be the courses. So, I had a lot of interesting courses, and I will list them out. So, my first one, and the only course that was purely related to my engineering degree, was Intro to Bridge Building and Design. So there were quite a few interesting things about this course. First off, technically, the university I attend doesn't have a civil engineering program, which I do find very interesting, considering that this course exists. When you think about it, you may think this would be geared towards civil engineering students, and with that assumption, you'd have to be correct. You don't necessarily do a lot of things you would think of as to how it relates to mechanical engineers. If you've never seen free body diagrams before, equations of equilibrium, this is an amazing course to take to kind of get you brought up to speed for your future courses in pursuing a mechanical engineering degree. But with that being said, it does tend to get very repetitive. It got very repetitive towards the end. We had a lot of projects, lots of projects that were basically the same thing 3 times over. And again, that does add to like the repetitive nature of this course. Wasn't bad at all though. Professor was great, very helpful, and it was actually a very, I would say, easy course to begin, especially if it's the first engineering course you're taking. So yeah, honestly, it was not bad at all. I would have to give it a pretty good review. So the second course that I took was Calculus 2. Alright, so my opinions on Calc 2 honestly were fairly mixed. So prior to this semester, I'd already taken and completed Calculus 1, which honestly was not that bad in my opinion. Everything that you come across in Calc 1 was fairly intuitive, and I would say you could pick up any topic fairly quickly, and if you're unsure about anything, just a few days of just reviewing that topic and practice problems would allow you to overcome any hurdles you came across. Calc 2, on the other hand, there was actually a few things that I struggled upon. I would have to say trigonomic substitution. Trig sub was definitely not my favorite. I definitely ran into a few issues with it. Lots of late nights in the library studying before midterms and the final. But to be fair, I feel like as the course progressed, it did get better. Series and sequences can also get kind of annoying. But I think with even just a week of like a solid study routine purely dedicated to series and sequences, anyone could pick it up. So honestly, the course may start off being a little rough, but it does get better. I promise that. The further along you go. All right. So that was the math course I took that semester, and then after that, we also had a introductory writing requirement at my school. Mine was based around careers in America. And throughout my whole high school career, my English or writing courses I had to take were never really my favorite. And again, that kind of also goes towards why I picked a fully STEM-based major, as I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. But I don't know how to explain it. It was not bad. If you liked to write, you would have liked it. Basically, it was like an overall intro to just proper research writing, the proper ways to cite stuff if you've never ran into that before, and basically just a broad overview of different resources available to you if you attend the university. But yeah, honestly, not my favorite. There were lots of essays. Basically 2 due every week. But if you like to write, then this would be right up your. This would have been up your alley. But not my favorite. Not my favorite. And then the final course I took in my first semester was a course called. Was basically just a chemistry course. The thing is, though, this chemistry was specifically geared for engineers. And when I say engineers, that may be a little too broad. Basically, the only individuals who took this specific chemistry course were mechanical engineers. You know, the professor was extremely nice, and he was there to offer help. It's just there's a lot of content to fit in only like a 4-month span. So that was a drawback for many students. But honestly, pretty solid course. Towards the end, things did get a little quick. So many people thought it was a little much towards the end. But as long as you could keep up with the pace, I feel like it was a very solid class. And lots of very interesting topics, honestly. At least my professor, he geared it mostly towards practical applications for the things that we were learning. And it was pretty fun. And the labs for this class were pretty easy as well. So we'll give that as a point towards them. Easy labs. All right. So that is a brief overview of the courses I took my first semester as a mechanical engineering student. Again, all these could vary depending on whatever university you go to, or you may want to attend in the future. But some of these are going to be pretty consistent. I got pretty lucky. My university doesn't really have a general education requirement. The only thing, again, is basically the writing course. Besides that, I was pretty free to take anything I really wanted, as long as it related to my major. But besides that, again, like I was saying, also partly through my second semester, so I guess we could talk about that too. We'll do my second semester. So if I were to compare these two right off the bat before going any further, my second semester so far has been a lot easier. I think in large part it has to do with the fact that the engineering course I am taking currently, which is statics, has a lot lighter of a workload than my previous engineering class. My previous class gave out quite a few projects, and those projects are very, very, very time consuming. Luckily, though, this semester, and especially my statics course, is very, very easy when compared to that. And this course, if as long as you're trying to become a licensed engineer, this will most likely be your first mechanical engineering course you take at any university, as long as they're accredited through ABET. And again, this one's going to be pretty universal, no matter which university you go to, and the topics, no matter which university you go to, are going to usually be the same. So again, it's kind of cool that they have a system in place that no matter which university you go to, the curriculum, at least for most engineering fields, is going to be the same. So if you're going into this, and as long as you have you took maybe a high school physics course, you're looking pretty good going into statics. Then the next course I am taking currently is Calculus 3, also known as multivariable calculus. So personally, in my opinion, and I've heard this from varying people, honestly, it depends on, I would have to say, your learning style, but personally to me, I found this one to be easier than Calc 2. But again, that really is dependent on the person. But I've heard it from quite a few people as well, that they thought that Calc 3 was significantly easier than Calc 2. Another thing, though, that I believe plays a role in it, especially if you're a mechanical engineering student, as this is also technically vector calculus. So many of the things you would be learning in this course will carry over quite heavily to statics, because in statics is going to be your first real introduction, I would say, into an engineering course where you're dealing with three-dimensional free body diagrams that involve vector calculus. So again, that's me including cross product and the dot product, and then the mathematic techniques that go along with each of those. Actually, too, I have actually made a video on my channel about these two mathematic techniques specifically, and I would advise checking it out if you are interested in learning more about them. Okay, and we will move on to the next course, which will be Physics Mechanics 1. Okay, so this course is essentially going to be the first physics course most people will take in college. This is going to be the first calculus-based physics course, and you'll learn many concepts you may have learned if you took a high school physics class. This will include things such as kinematic equations, what else? Kinematic equations, and then things like circular motion, and then of course you'll have more, mainly I would say you have more 2D free body diagram problems. Yes, so if you couldn't tell from the trend so far, if you're going to be a mechanical engineering student, you better like your free body diagrams. They will show up everywhere, and again, this is only through the first year, so you better, I really, really hope you like them, because if not, you may want to reconsider. But we will keep on moving on, and so for my final class I had to take was psychology. So again, if you could tell, this is not a requirement for my mechanical engineering degree. However, this is required for me to graduate from my university. So the way my university works is you usually have to pick another field of interest outside of your major, and by that I mean, so for example, mechanical engineering would fit into the STEM field, so it would either have to be a social science or a what do you call it? A social science or like an art. So again, that would be something other than a mathematics class, physics course, biology class. Has to be something else. So the one I picked was a social science, was psychology, and I'm gonna have to take around 3 courses in psychology, which isn't bad. I do find it personally pretty interesting, but again, this is usually just something unique to my university. You probably don't have to take a psychology class to graduate with a mechanical engineering degree, but just thought it'd be interesting. But again, this one's relatively easy. It's just an introductory psychology course, so nothing too difficult with that. So I guess this is my brief overview of my first year as a mechanical engineering student. Again, I'm still currently in my second semester, but it is going pretty well, and my school also lets out pretty early for summer vacation, so I'm pretty lucky and fortunate to have that. But again, this is a pretty brief overview, and if you have any more questions, you can just leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer back to as many as I can. So thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe and like for more.